to give my yes to you today. I choose.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 12th of February, and this is Coffee with God. If you have your Bibles, turn to Mark chapter 3, verses 1 and 2. Marcus 3, vers 1 and 2. Jesus entered again into a synagogue, and a man was there whose hand was withered. They were watching him to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. There's so much about these two verses that reveals so much about the heart of man. You know, we either walk by flesh or we walk by faith, and the heart of flesh looks at a man with a withered hand sitting in a church, obviously with difficulty, obviously with a need, obviously with hurt, obviously with some sort of desire to be helped in some way, or perhaps not. He's arrived at a place of peace with his lot. He's lived with this withered hand, and he's learned to get on with life without it. And yet he has people who look to use the hurt and the life of somebody else to get to their goals, their aim, their motives. And they're not interested in the person with a withered hand. They're not interested in his healing. They're not interested in him at all. They just use him for their own gain, for their own end, for their own means. And they eagerly wait to see whether Jesus is going to heal him because, you know, it's the Sabbath. Jesus was a rule breaker. Jesus didn't abide by the rules of man. He was quite a rebel as far as that was concerned. And so it didn't matter to him whether it was the Sabbath or not. Here was a person in need, and he had the ability to make a profound difference in that person's life. And no rule, no wrong timing was going to prevent him from doing what he could for another human being. Did Jesus know this person? Did Jesus go back and say, hey, I healed you, you owe me, contribute to my cause, put some money into my ministry? He saw a person in need, and Sabbath didn't even enter into his thinking, even though even though he did know the motives and the intentions of those who were sitting there watching. That's unfortunately sometimes the lot of the church today. And when I talk about church, I'm not talking about the building, I'm talking about the people of God today. We sometimes look at other things out of a fleshly eye viewpoint, and we see how we can use other people for own gain, for personal entrapment, for putting someone else in a difficult situation, instead of seeking to do the Lord's will, to walk by faith, to break the rules, to be the rebel, to be the one who couldn't care about what society thinks or expects. But we do. Mother Teresa in India, in the caste system, would touch the untouchables, and people would then want nothing to do with her. And she started a whole order of humanitarian work that would reach to the lowest of the low, the dirtiest of the dirtiest. And she was a rebel. Come on, can I challenge you not to see people as a tool, but to see people as people, to see their needs, to see their shortcomings. And if you're able to, by faith, if you're able to, with God's grace, if you're able to, with God's ability in you, make a difference, then please do that. And let's not use people. Let's be used by God for the sake of people. Think about that. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Lord bless you.